Hi, I'm Tiffany Spring with WildWillow Lotion and Potions LLC, where self-love is magic. Today we are going to go over a tutorial, a step-by-step tutorial for our Self-Love Incense Making Kit. All of our kits are basically the same thing. The only difference in all of our kits, our Samhain kit, our Mabon kit, and many more kits to come, is our aromatics. That's the only difference. They change the amount of aromatics and measurements of them do change, but the bases and the binders stay the same. So this will be my last tutorial video, and let's get into the kit. This is what our kits look like. They come packaged in these packages that the cardboard can be used to lay down your finished incense cones to dry. Inside this kit will be a instruction sheet with a link to this video, as well as your base. This is the Self-Love kit, so it comes with four teaspoons of sandalwood powder, 2 teaspoons of mako powder, and 1 teaspoon of patchouli, and 1 teaspoon of rose powder. These powders were specifically blended for the intention of self-love and acceptance. Inside you will also have a 20 milliliter liquid syringe, 1 teaspoon measuring spoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon measuring spoon, as well as 2 measuring sticks. Each kit that WildWillow sells can make up to 2 batches of the ingredients of the 2 batches of natural incense cones. So let's get into the tutorial. Alright, so let's get started with this tutorial. In each kit, like I said, you will have enough supplies and ingredients to make 2 batches of this recipe. So you can double it if you want to, or you can make it at 2 different times. So first we are going to put in 1 leveled teaspoon of sandalwood powder. 2 level teaspoons of sandalwood powder. So you can level it with your mixing sticks if preferred, or you can use your finger. But leveling your ingredients, make sure that you have the correct measurements in each and every time. After the sandalwood powder, which acts as our base ingredient and make sure that the incense burns evenly and thoroughly, we are going to use our binding ingredient, which binds the ingredients all together and makes sure that they stick together. We are going to use 1 teaspoon of mako powder, also known as tabu no ki, made from the tabu no ki bark. We're using 1 level teaspoon of tabu no ki. Next, we are going to use our aromatics. Our aromatics today we chose for their love and acceptance properties. We are going to use 2 leveled 1/8 of a teaspoons. So we're going to use the small one. We're going to use 2 leveled teaspoons, 2 leveled 1/8 of a teaspoons of rose powder, and last, for the dry ingredients, we're using 2/8 of a teaspoon of patchouli powder. And that's it for your dry ingredients. Now you mix up the dry ingredients until they are one solid uniform color. Making sure that there's no clumps, no bumps, everything is well combined. And it looks something like this. Next, we are using just plain water for this recipe. You can use anything that's mainly water, so you can use wine, you can use coffee. They will give off a different kind of aromatic scent, but they will work just the same as long as it's mainly water. You don't want to use too much water, so at first just use, I'd say, about half of the 15 milliliters called for in this recipe. So I'm pushing it down to about 10, a little more than 10. And I'll mix it up with this mixing spoon. At first, it will seem like your mixture does not want to mix together. Keep mixing, and eventually that surface tension will break, and you will start to get a clumpy mess here. And at this time, it's hard to tell if your dough is too dry or if it's just not mixed enough. So you have to go in with your hands, and this is why I wear gloves. It's just a personal preference. If you don't, some instant makers like to get their hands dirty and put their hands in their instant dough. That might, if you like that kind of thing, it might infuse more of your intentions in it, having your bare hands. But I have nails, and I don't like to get the dough underneath my nails. So you want to squeeze and pinch the dough with your hands. Keep squeezing and pinching together, kind of like you're kneading some cookie dough. And you're going to keep kneading and keep kneading. And if you see it's still crumbly, keep putting some more water, a few drops at a time, not too much. If you put too much water, your instant dough will be droopy and hard to manage. If you put too little, it will be clumpy and it will break apart. So just keep kneading and kneading until your instant dough comes together in a full and complete ball. I like to scoop it, squeeze it, just squeezing it all together. What you're looking for is a consistency of Play-Doh. Something that's going to be squishable and malleable, but not stick to your hands. The amount of water you need for each recipe will vary depending on the ingredients that you choose, the humidity in the air, as well as the liquid that you choose. It will all vary slightly, and each recipe will vary slightly. Sometimes I use all 15, sometimes I use about 12. It all really varies. But I've learned that if I make these enough, 15 is usually a really good measurement for this recipe. So you just keep squishing it until it all comes together. And a trick I've learned is that once it's all incorporated, if you take it and you swipe it around the sides of the bowl, your instant dough ball should pick up all the residue that's on the inside of your bowl. So your bowl should come out pretty clean. So this is what the instant dough should look like once it's ready to be formed into cones. It is squishable, it's malleable, but it's not sticking to my gloves, and it's not crumbling or falling apart. And this is the time where I take the smaller 1/8 of a teaspoon and take about half of a teaspoon, so I take about that much. I roll it into a ball in the center of my hand, making sure there are no seams, and it is a smooth and solid ball. See how it's falling apart? You want to squish it together. If it falls apart too much, that might mean that it's still too dry. So once you have it in ball, you roll it, yep, too dry. Give me one moment. We'll get some more liquid in here. Just a little bit, not a lot at a time. Yeah, that should be good to go. It's starting to stick to my hands a little bit. I might have used a little too much. Let's mix it in and make sure. Squeeze and squish and squeeze and squish. Nah, I think we're good. Let's try this again. About half a teaspoon. Roll it into your ball. Perfect. Then roll it with one finger at an angle, and it'll start to give you that cone shape. Now there's no right or wrong way to make a cone, and my cones are just not turning out well today. There's no right or wrong shape to make a cone. Long and skinny cones burn longer and slower than short and fat cones, and they give off a smaller amount of smoke than the shorter, fatter cones would. So there you go. There's your first incense cone. And you just can repeat the process with the rest of these. Each incense recipe batch makes about 4 to 6 cones, depending on the size and shape of the cone that you make. So if you make a double batch, you'll probably get about 8 to 12, I'd say. But a single batch will give you about 4 to 6. Sometimes I just pick it off with my hands and eyeball it. That's okay too. It doesn't have to be exact. Now, if you're a particular person, which I can be, I tend to measure everything else, so everything tries to be about the same shape and size. But today I'm just not feeling it. Alright, we're down to our last 2. Roll it into a ball, and then flatten it out on one side. Roll it up and down, softly, not too hard, until you get that nice cone shape. And then you just push it down on a flat surface. Now, once you are done rolling out your incense cones, you need to put them in a safe, dry place, cool, dry, to stay and to dry out for at least 48 hours, and then they will be ready to burn. Alright guys, we've made our incense cones. All natural, self-love inspired incense cones. Well, I want to thank you so much for watching this tutorial video. Again, it will be probably my last incense kit tutorial video. I probably will make some videos in the future, but right now this is all I have planned. So again, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, as well as you can learn more about Wild Willow Lotion and Potions at WildWillowLotionPotions.com. Thank you for watching.